Welcome back to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks very much for your continued support. The Azimio party leader and the Right Honorable Raila Odinga jetted out of the country, destination South Africa, on a day when William Ruto jetted and landed in Homa Bay for a 2-day development tour in Nyanza. And very many people are asking what is happening, why Raila had to fly out on a day when the president is visiting him. And I thought maybe we are reading just too much on this, because the communication from his personal assistant, Dennis Onyango, is explaining categorically why Raila jetted out of the country. And Dennis is saying that he is flying out on official duties. And Dennis is saying this on his Twitter page, and this is what he sent to the newsrooms, that during Raila'S visit in his capacity as the AU High Representative for Infrastructure Development, Raila will meet the Chief Executive Officer of the African Union Development Agency, Mr. Nados Bekele Thomas. So as you can see, this is an invitation to meet Mr. Nados Bekele. And he is saying that he is scheduled to hold meetings with South African leaders from the government and non-governmental organization. So number one, Raila is visiting South Africa after he has been invited in his capacity as the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure and Development. But I also believe that Raila, before flying out of the country, must have exchanged phone calls with the President, William Ruto. For those who don't know, it usually happens. Before Raila jets out of the country, usually he either calls the President or the President calls him. And I believe that before William Ruto visited his support base, they must have talked, because even though it is not in the constitution officially, Raila is the official opposition leader. And so they must have talked, and he gave Ruto his blessings to visit Nyanza. And I'm not saying that if he hadn't given him any blessings, Ruto would have not been there. No, for an amicable relationship, they must have talked. I'm saying this because prior to this meeting, Raila Odinga, while celebrating his birthday in the coast, announced that he had given his governors the green light, governors of Azimio, to work with the national government, because he notes that it's good for the ordinary man when the two-tier government, the county government and the national government, work together. And even told off the media for misreporting that when an Azimio governor commits to work with William Ruto, it doesn't mean that he or she has decamped Azimio. And before he jetted out, there is information that Raila had a night meeting with his Nyanza leaders, the governors, the senators, and the members of parliament, and he gave them the blessings to give William Ruto a resounding welcome. And that is why you can see when William Ruto landed in Homa Bay, he was met by none other than the Homa Bay governor, Madam Gladys Wanga. And if you ask me, it is a good thing. The last, when William Ruto first visited Nyanza in Homa Bay in AI's church, Madam Governor Wanga did not attend that meeting, and neither did the other local leaders. And when they were asked, something that was coming out very clearly, that she was not part of the arrangement. I think she must have been told at the last minute that the president is coming, or it was just mere politics, because people were still, there was still that bitter feeling. And so for Raila Odinga to hold such meetings and allow them and his supporters to welcome William Ruto, it is something that personally I think Raila should be commended for. It is a show of magnanimity. If you have followed Raila's kind of politics, Raila has always worked with his political nemesis. He did this with the former president, Daniel Moi, who had detained him for 9 years. But he later came up and they worked together. In 2007, in a blatant thievery and robbery of his victory, Mwai Kibaki, Raila did not still consider Mwai Kibaki as an enemy. He shook hands with the former president and they worked together. Economists say that during the Serikali ya Nusu Mkate, that coalition government, that is the time we had the best economy. And even if you listen to Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto talking today, they say that they want to take back the Kenyan economy to the level where Kibaki left it. And one thing that they don't say is that they were together. The best economic plans took place when Raila Odinga worked with Mwai Kibaki. When Nyanza, who is the governor of Kisumu today, was in the Ministry of Planning. And so for him to allow his supporters to welcome Ruto is something, and it is like a coded language to both William Ruto and even his supporters, that you see, when it comes to development matters, then I will always support you. Don't you think that it is good that Raila is not playing petty politics? Number two, the other day they met with the UK High Commissioner, and Raila shared on his Twitter platform that they had discussed effective opposition. In fact, I questioned what does effective opposition means, but I think I'm getting the answer today. That even though Raila considers Ruto as one who robbed him of his victory, and he has always criticized William Ruto in his manner of politics, the way he wants to kick out people like the Cherera team. But on this occasion, when William Ruto is going to visit his Nyanza, his home turf, he was quiet and he allowed him to go visit. I told you yesterday that the nature or the culture of Luos is that when you have a guest, you don't show them that you don't like them. In fact, you will prepare for them the best meal that you've ever prepared. Leaders who attended that meeting really did a good thing. I expected that there would be some petty politics where those who are arranging this kind of meeting were going to start, chiding Raila and criticizing him. But what I saw is something that has pleased me, that there were talks of development projects and what William Ruto wants to do to the Nyanza nation. And I just want to believe that William Ruto is doing this because Nyanza residents are taxpayers, and it is not as a result of favoritism, because the problem that Kenya has really faced from time immemorial is that when a president is elected, he dangles carrots to the other people who did not support him, and sometimes he or she neglects those people who did not vote for him, and he rewards those people who voted for him, so that anytime we go for an election, and even Railas said it, that the problem is that a winner takes it all, and the other people do not feel like they're in the government, they're sidelined in terms of projects and development. But for William Ruto to go there and say what he wants to do to the people is something that I really, really like. Raila Odinga is also showing his people that he's committed to development, and this is the reason why he said that you go there, ask what you want, explain. Like I saw Podo Kaluma saying that he wants William Ruto to complete some roads that were not completed from by the other regime, the previous regime, Uhuru Kenyatta, and he also wants that airstrip Kabunde to be fully in use. William Ruto landed there, and I think he saw the fate of that airstrip. I would really love if that airstrip is elevated. So guys, for Raila to fly out to South Africa, it is something that is not raising any eyebrows. He did it, but if you ask me, a change is also good, as a rest. Is now taking a sabbatical leave from local politics and is going to enjoy his duties that has been given. He's now a Pan-Africanist. In fact, The two handshake partners, Raila Odinga and the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, were not going to sit down to go to Bondo and Ichaweri as others had thought, because Uhuru Kenyatta is busy trying to make peace in war-torn countries like Sudan, Burundi, Congo. He's doing a good job and he's enjoying himself. If you see him around, on Christmas Day he went to enjoy the goodies in some orphanage. He's a man who's enjoying himself. And Raila Odinga is not going to Bondo. The other day he said that he knows the road to Bondo. So he's playing his local politics, but also flies out across the borders just to see what is happening in terms of energy, clean energy, infrastructure, and all these things. So if you ask me, it is a good thing for him, because back at home he had arranged everything. Watoto wako sawa, wanakaribisha wageni, and he's also doing other more important jobs outside the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think and what do you make of the first day of Ruto tour? Don't you think it was wonderful? And this is the way to go, that after elections, a president will still visit those who did not vote for him, and those who did not vote for him give him a resounding, welcome into their region. Let's believe and wait. The other thing, before I forget, ladies and gentlemen, I was happy with our Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Our Deputy President should be applauded, because his speeches today were just wonderful. It was a U-turn from his usual rhetorics on Sundays where he says, mtu akitandawili, mtu aliharibu uchumi wetu. And I believe this is the way to go. Moving forward, let us have an amicable relationship between the government and the opposition. And when the time comes to criticize, let us do so knowing very well that we have one country called Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my take.